May our Father, Messiah, and the Holy Spirit be with us. Isaiah chapter 31. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses, and trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong. But they look not to the Holy One of Israel, neither seek our Father in heaven. Yet he also is wise, and will bring evil, and will not call back his words, but will arise against the house of the evildoers, and against the help of them that work iniquity. Now the Egyptians are men, and not Elohim, and their horses flesh, and not spirit. When our Father in heaven will stretch out his hand, both he that helps will fall, and he that is holpen will fall down, and they all will fail together. For this has our Father in heaven spoken to me. Like as the lion and the young lion roaring on his prey, when a multitude of shepherds is called forth against him, he will not be afraid of their voice, nor abase himself for the noise of them. So will our Father in heaven of hosts come down to fight for Mount Zion and for the hill thereof. As birds flying, so will our Father in heaven of hosts defend Jerusalem. Defending also, he will deliver it, and passing over, he will preserve it. Turn you to him from whom the children of Israel have deeply revolted. For in that day every man will cast away his idols of silver and his idols of gold, which your own hands have made to you for a sin. Then will the Assyrian fall with the sword, not of a mighty man, and the sword, not of a mean man, will devour him, but he will flee from the sword, and his young men will be discomfited. And he will pass over to a stronghold for fear, and his princes will be afraid of the ensign, says our Father in heaven, whose fire is in Zion, and his furnace in Jerusalem. Chapter 32. Behold, a king will reign in righteousness, and princes will rule in judgment, and a man will be as an hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. And the eyes of them that see will not be dim, and the ears of them that hear will darken. The heart also of the rash will understand knowledge, and the tongue of the stammerers will be ready to speak plainly. The vile person will be no more called liberal, nor the churl said to be bountiful. For the vile person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity, to practice hypocrisy, and to utter error against our Father in heaven, to make empty the soul of the hungry, and he will cause the drunk of the thirsty to fail. The instruments also of the churl are evil. He devises wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speaks right. But the liberal devises liberal things, and by liberal things will he stand. Rise up, you women that are at ease. Hear my voice, you careless daughters. Give ear to my speech. Many days and years will you be troubled, you careless women. For the vintage will fail, the gathering will not come. Tremble, you women that are at ease. Be troubled, you careless ones. Strip you, and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. They will lament for the teats, for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine. Upon the land of my people will come up thorns and briars, yea, upon all the houses of joy in the joyous city, because the palaces will be forsaken. The multitude of the city will be left. The forts and towers will be for dens forever. A joy of wild asses and pasture flocks, until the Spirit be poured out upon us from on high, and the wilderness be a fruitful field, and the fruitful field be counted for a forest. Then judgment will dwell in the wilderness, and righteousness remain in the fruitful field. And the work of righteousness will be peace, and the effect of righteousness quietness and assurance forever. And my people will dwell in a peaceable habitation, and in sure dwellings, and in quiet resting places. When it will hail coming down on the forest, and the city will be low, in a low place, blessed are you that sow beside all waters, that send forth there the feet of the ox and the ass. Woe to you, chapter 33. Woe to you that spoils, and you was not spoiled, and deals treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with you. When you will cease to spoil, you will be spoiled, and when you will make an end to deal treacherously, they will deal treacherously with you. O Father, be gracious to us. We have waited for you. Be you their arm every morning, our salvation also in the time of trouble. At the noise of the tumult, the people fled. At the lifting up of yourself, the nations were scattered, and your spoil will be gathered like the gathering of the caterpillar. As the running to and fro of locusts, will he run upon them. Our Father in heaven is exalted, for he dwells on high. He has filled Zion with judgment and righteousness, and wisdom and knowledge will be the stability of your times, and strength of salvation. The fear of our Father in heaven is his treasure. Behold, their valiant ones will cry without. The ambassadors of peace will weep bitterly. The highways lie waste. The wayfaring man ceases. He has broken the covenant. He has despised the cities. He regards no man. The earth mourns and languishes. Lebanon is ashamed and hewn down. Sharon is like a wilderness, and Bashan and Carmel shake off their fruits. Now will I rise, says our Father in heaven. Now will I be exalted. Now will I lift up myself. You will conceive chaff. You will bring forth stubble. Your breath as fire will devour you, and the people will be as the burnings of lime. As thorns cut up will they be burned in the fire. Hear, you that are far off, what I have done, and you that are near acknowledge my might. The sinners in Zion are afraid. Fearfulness has surprised the hypocrites. Who among us will dwell with the devouring fire? Who among us will dwell with everlasting burnings? He that walks righteously and speaks uprightly, he that despises the gain of oppressions, that shakes his hands from holding of bribes, that stops his ears from hearing of blood and shuts his eyes from seeing evil, he will dwell on high. His place of defense will be the munitions of rocks. Bread will be given him. His waters will be sure. Your eyes will see the King in his beauty. They will behold the land that is very far off. Your heart will meditate terror. Where is the scribe? Where is the receiver? Where is he that counted the towers? You will not see a fierce people, a people of a deeper speech than you can perceive, of a stammering tongue that you cannot understand. Look upon Zion, the city of our solemnities. Your eyes will see Jerusalem, a quiet habitation, a tabernacle that will not be taken down. Not one of the stakes thereof will ever be removed, neither will any of the cords thereof be broken. But there the glorious Father will be to us a place of broad rivers and streams, wherein will go no galley with oars, neither will gallant ship pass thereby. For our Father in heaven is our judge. Our Father in heaven is our lawgiver. Our Father in heaven is our King. He will save us. Your tacklings are loosed. They could not well strengthen their mast. They could not spread the sail. Then is the prey of a great spoil divided. The lame take the prey, and the inhabitant will not say, I am sick. The people that dwell therein will be forgiven their iniquity. Chapter 34. Come near, you nations, to hear, and hearken, you people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of our Father in heaven is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He has utterly destroyed them. He has delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain also will be cast out, and their stink will come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains will be melted with their blood. And all the hosts of heaven will be dissolved, and the heavens will be rolled together as a scroll, and all their host will fall down, as the leaf falls off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. For my sword will be bathed in heaven. Behold, it will come down, Idumea. It will come down upon Idumea, and upon the people of my curse to judgment. The sword of our Father in heaven is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For our Father in heaven has a sacrifice in Bozrah, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. And the unicorns will come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land will be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. For it is the day of our Father's vengeance, and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. And the streams thereof will be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof will become burning pitch. It will not be quenched night nor day. The smoke thereof will go up forever. From generation to generation it will lie waste. None will pass through it forever and ever. But the cormorant and the bittern will possess it. The owl also and the raven will dwell in it, and he will stretch out upon it the line of confusion and the stones of emptiness. They will call the nobles thereof to the kingdom, but none will be there, and all her princes will be nothing. And thorns will come up in her palaces, nettles and brambles in the fortresses thereof, and it will be an habitation of dragons and a court for owls. The wild beasts of the desert will also meet with the wild beasts of the island, and the satyr will cry to his fellow. The screech owl also will rest there, and find for herself a place of rest. There will the great owl make her nest, and lay, and hatch, and gather under her shadow. There will the vultures also be gathered, every one with her might. Seek you out of the book of our Father in heaven, and read. No one of these will fail. None will want her mate. For my mouth it has commanded, and his spirit it has gathered them. And he has cast the lot for them, and his hand has divided it to them by line. They will possess it forever. From generation to generation will they dwell therein. Chapter 35. The wilderness and the solitary place will be glad for them, and the desert will rejoice and blossom as the rose. It will blossom abundantly and rejoice, even with joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon will be given to it, and excellency of Carmel and Sharon. They will see the glory of our Father in heaven and the excellency of our Elohim. Strengthen you the weak hands, and confirm the feeble knees. Say to them that are of a fearful heart, be strong, fear not. Behold, your Elohim will come with vengeance, even our Father in heaven with a recompense. He will come and save you. Then the eyes of the blind will be opened, and the ears of the deaf will be unstopped. Then will the lame man leap as an hart, and the tongue of the dumb sing. For in the wilderness will waters break out, and streams in the desert. And the parched ground will become a pool, and the thirsty land springs of water. And the habitation of dragons, where each lay, will be grass with reeds and rushes. And an highway will be there, and a way, and it will be called the way of holiness. The unclean will not pass over it, but it will be for those, the wayfaring men, though fools, will not err within. No lion will be there, nor any ravenous beast will go up thereon. It will not be found there, but the redeemed will walk there, and the ransomed of our Father in heaven will return and come to Zion with songs and everlasting joy upon their heads. They will obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and sighing will flee away. Chapter 36. Now it came to pass in the 14th year of King Hezekiah that Sennacherib, king of Assyria, came up against all the defense cities of Judah and took them. And the king of Assyria sent Rabshakeh from Lachish to Jerusalem to King Hezekiah with a great army. And he stood by the conduit of the upper pool in the highway of the fuller's field. Then came forth to him Eliakim, Hilkiah's son, which was over the house, and Shebna the scribe, and Joah, Asaph's son, the recorder. And Rabshakeh said to them, Say you now to Hezekiah, This says the great king, the king of Assyria, What confidence is this wherein you trust? I say you, says you, but they are but vain words. I have counsel and strength for war. Now on whom do you trust, that you rebel against me? Lo, you trust in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to all that trust in him. But if you say to me, We trust in our Father in heaven, our Elohim, it is not he, whose high places and whose altars Hezekiah has taken away, and said to Judah and to Jerusalem, You will worship before this altar. Now therefore give pledges, I pray you, to my master the king of Assyria, and I will give you 2,000 horses if you be able on your part to set riders upon them. How then will you turn away the face of one captain of the least of my master's servants, and put your trust on Egypt for chariots and for horsemen? And am I now come up without our father against this land to destroy it? Our father said to me, Go up against this land and destroy it. Then said Eliakim and Shebna and Joah to Rabshakeh, Speak, I pray you, to your servants in the Syrian language, for we understand it, and speak not to us in the Jews' language, in the ears of the people that are on the wall. But Rabshakeh said, Has my master sent me to your master and to you to speak these words? Has he not sent me to the men that sit upon the wall, that they may eat their own dung and drink their own piss with you? Then Rabshakeh stood and cried with a loud voice in the Jews' language, and said, Hear you the words of the great king, the king of Assyria. This says the king, Let not Hezekiah deceive you, for he will not be able to deliver you. Neither let Hezekiah make you trust in our Father in heaven, saying, Our Father in heaven will surely deliver us. This city will not be delivered into the hand of the king of Assyria. Hearken not to Hezekiah, for this says the king of Assyria, Make an agreement with me by a present, and come out to me, and eat you every one of his vine, and every one of his fig tree, and drink you every one the waters of his own cistern, until I come and take you away to a land like your own land, a land of corn and wine, a land of bread and vineyards. Beware, lest Hezekiah persuade you, saying, Our Father in heaven will deliver us. Has any of the Elohims of the nations delivered his land out of the hand of the king of Assyria? Where are the Elohims of Hamath and Arphad? Where are the Elohims of Sepharvaim? And have they delivered Samaria out of my hand? Who are they among all the Elohims of these lands that have delivered their land out of my hand, that our Father in heaven should deliver Jerusalem out of my hand? But they held their peace and answered him not a word, for the king's commandment was, saying, Answer him not. Then came Eliakim the son of Hilkiah, that was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and Joah the son of Asaph the recorder, to Hezekiah with their clothes rent, and told him the words of Rabshakeh. Chapter 37. And it came to pass, when King Hezekiah heard it, that he rent his clothes and covered himself with sackcloth, and went into the house of our Father in heaven. And he sent Eliakim, who was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and the elders of the priests, covered with sackcloth, to Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amos. And they said to him, This says Hezekiah, this day is a day of trouble, and of rebuke, and of blasphemy. For the children are come to the birth, and there is not strength to bring forth. It may be, our Father in heaven, your Elohim, will hear the words of Rabshakeh, whom the king of Assyria, his master, has sent to reproach the living Elohim, and will reprove the words which our Father in heaven, your Elohim, has heard. Wherefore lift up your prayer for the remnant that is left. So the servants of King Hezekiah came to Isaiah, and Isaiah said to them, This will you say to your master, This says our Father in heaven, Be not afraid of the words that you have heard, wherewith the servants of the king of Assyria have blasphemed me. Behold, I will send a blast upon him, and will hear a rumor, and return to his own land, and I will cause him to fall by the sword in his own land. So Rabshakeh returned and found the king of Assyria warring against Libnah, for he had heard that he was departed from Lachish. And he heard say concerning Tirhakah, king of Ethiopia, He is come forth to make war with you. And when he heard it, he sent messengers to Hezekiah, saying, This will you speak to Hezekiah, king of Judah, saying, Let not your Elohim, in whom you trust, deceive you, saying, Jerusalem will not be given into the hand of the king of Assyria. Behold, you have heard what the kings of Assyria have done to all the lands, by destroying them utterly. And will you be delivered? Have the Elohims of the nations delivered them, which my fathers have destroyed, as Gozan and Haran and Rezeph and the children of Eden, which were in Telassar? Where is the king of Hamath, and the king of Arphad, and the king of the city of Sepharvaim, Henah, and Ivah? And Hezekiah received the letter from the hand of the messengers and read it. And Hezekiah went up to the house of our Father in heaven and spread it before our Father in heaven. And Hezekiah prayed to our Father in heaven, saying, O Father of hosts, Elohim of Israel, that dwells between the cherubims, you are the Elohim, even you alone, of all the kingdoms of the earth. You have made heaven and earth. Incline your ear, O Father, and hear. Open your eyes, O Father, and see, and hear all the words of Sennacherib, which has sent to reproach the living Elohim. Of a truth, Father, the kings of Assyria have laid waste all the nations in their countries, and have cast their Elohims into the fire. But they were no Elohims, but the work of men's hands, wood and stone. Therefore they have destroyed them. Now therefore, O Father, our Elohim, save us from his hand, that all the kingdoms of the earth may know that you are our Father in heaven, even you alone, even you only. When Isaiah the son of Amos sent to Hezekiah, saying, This says our Father in heaven, Elohim of Israel, whereas you have prayed to me against Sennacherib, king of Assyria. This is the word which our Father in heaven has spoken concerning him. The virgin, the daughter of Zion, has despised you and laughed you to scorn. The daughter of Jerusalem has shaken her head at you. Whom have you reproached and blasphemed? And against whom have you exalted your voice and lifted up your eyes on high? Even against the Holy One of Israel. By your servants have you reproached our Father in heaven, and have said, By the multitude of my chariots am I come up to the height of the mountains, to the sides of Lebanon, and I will cut down the tall cedars thereof, and the choice fir trees thereof, and I will enter into the height of his border, and the forest of his Carmel. I have digged and drunk water, and with the sole of my feet have I dried up all the rivers of the besieged places. Have you not heard long ago how I have done it, and of ancient times that I have formed it? Now have I brought it to pass, that you should be to lay waste defenced cities into ruinous heaps. Therefore their inhabitants were of small power. They were dismayed and confounded. They were as the grass of the field, and as the green herb, as the grass on the hilltops, or on the housetops, and as corn blasted before it be grown up. But I know your abode, and your going out. And your coming in, and your rage against me, because your rage against me and your tumult is come up into my ears. Therefore will I put my hook in your nose, and my bridle in your lips, and I will turn you back by the way by which you came. And this will be a sign to you. You will eat this year such as grows of itself, and the second year that which springs of the same, and in the third year sow you, and reap, and plant vineyards, and eat the fruit thereof. And the remnant that is escaped of the house of Judah will again take root downward, and bear fruit upward. For out of Jerusalem will go forth a remnant, and they will escape out of Mount Zion. The zeal of our Father in heaven of hosts will do this. Therefore, this says our Father in heaven concerning the king of Assyria: He will not come into this city, nor shoot an arrow there, nor come before it with shields, nor cast a bank against it. By the way that he came, by the same will he return, and will not come into this city, says our Father in heaven. For I will defend this city, to save it for my own sake, and for my servant David's sake. Then the angel of our Father in heaven went forth, and smote in the camp of the Assyrians 185,000. And when they arose early in the morning, behold, they were all dead corpses. So Sennacherib, king of Assyria, departed and went, and returned, and dwelt at Nineveh. And it came to pass, as he was worshipping in the house of Nisroch, his Elohim, that Adramelech and Sharezer, his sons, smote him with the sword, and they escaped into the land of Armenia, and Esarhaddon, his son, reigned in his stead. Chapter 38. In those days was Hezekiah sick to death, and Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amoz, came to him and said to him, This says our Father in heaven, Set your house in order, for you will die and not live. Then Hezekiah turned his face down the wall and prayed to our Father in heaven and said, Remember now, O Father, I beseech you, how I have walked before you in truth and with a perfect heart, and have done that which is good in your sight. And Hezekiah wept sore. Then came the word of our Father in heaven to Isaiah, saying, Go and say to Hezekiah, This says our Father in heaven, the Elohim of David your father, I have heard your prayer, I have seen your tears. Behold, I will add to your days 15 years, and I will deliver you and this city out of the hand of the king of Assyria, and I will defend this city. And this will be a sign to you from our Father in heaven, that our Father in heaven will do this thing that he has spoken. Behold, I will bring again the shadow of the degrees, which is gone down in the sundial of Ahaz, 10 degrees backward. So the sun returned 10 degrees, by which degrees it was gone down. The writing of Hezekiah, king of Judah, when he had been sick, and was recovered of his sickness. I said, in the cutting off of my days, I will go to the gates of the grave. I am deprived of the residue of my years. I said, I will not see our Father in heaven, even our Father in heaven, in the land of the living. I will behold man no more with the inhabitants of the world. My age is departed and is removed from me as a shepherd's tent. I have cut off like a weaver of my life. He will cut me off with pining sickness. From day even to night will you make an end of me. I reckon till morning that as a lion, so will he break all my bones. From day even to night will you make an end of me. Like a crane or a swallow, so did I chatter. I did mourn as a dove. My eyes fail with looking upward. O Father, I am oppressed. Undertake for me, what will I say? He has both spoken to me and himself has done it. I will go softly all my years in the bitterness of my soul. O Father, by these things men live, and in all these things is the life of my spirit. So will you recover me and make me to live? Behold, for peace I had great bitterness, but you have in love to my soul. But you have in love to my soul delivered it from the pit of corruption, for you have cast all my sins behind your back. For the grave cannot praise you, death cannot celebrate you. They that go down into the pit cannot hope for your truth. The living, he will praise you, as I do this day. The Father to the children will make known your truth. Our Father in heaven was ready to save me. Therefore, we will sing my songs to the stringed instruments all the days of our life in the house of our Father in heaven. For Isaiah had said, let them take a lump of figs and lay it for a plaster upon the boil, and he will recover. Hezekiah also had said, what is the sign that I will go up to the house of our Father in heaven? Chapter 39. At that time, Merodach-Baladan, the son of Baladan, king of chapter 39. I don't know if I said chapter 39. Chapter 39. At that time, Merodach-Baladan, the son of Baladan, king of Babylon, sent letters and a present to Hezekiah, for he had heard that he had been sick and was recovered. And Hezekiah was glad of them, and showed them the house of his precious things, the silver and the gold and the spices and the precious ointment, and all the house of his armor, and all that was found in his treasures. There was nothing in his house, nor in all his domination, that Hezekiah showed them not. Then came Isaiah the prophet to King Hezekiah, and said to him, what said these men? And from where came they to you? And Hezekiah said, they are come from a far country to me, even from Babylon. Then said he, what have they seen in your house? And Hezekiah answered, all that is my house have they seen. There is nothing among my treasures that I have not showed them. Then said Isaiah to Hezekiah, hear the word of our Father in heaven of hosts. Behold, the days come that all that is in your house, and that which your fathers have laid up in store until this day, will be carried to Babylon. Nothing will be left, says our Father in heaven. And of your sons that will issue from you, which you will beget, will they take away, and they will be eunuchs in the palace of the king of Babylon. Then said Hezekiah to Isaiah, good is the word of our Father in heaven, which you have spoken. He said, moreover, for there will be peace and truth in my days. Chapter 40. Comfort you, my people, says your Elohim. Speak you comfortably to Jerusalem, and cry to her that her warfare is accomplished, that her iniquity is pardoned. For she has received of our father's hand double for all her sins. The voice of him that cries in the wilderness, prepare you the way of our Father in heaven, make straight in the desert a highway for our Elohim. Every valley will be exalted, and every mountain and hill will be made low, and the crooked will be made straight, and the rough places plain. And the glory of our Father in heaven will be revealed, and all flesh will see it together. For the mouth of our Father in heaven has spoken it. The voice said, cry. And he said, What will I cry? All flesh is grass, and all the goodliness thereof is as the flower of the field. The grass wherewith the flower fades, because the Spirit of our Father in heaven blows upon it. Surely the people is grass. The grass withers, the flower fades, but the word of our Father in heaven will stand forever. O Zion, that brings good tidings, get you up into the high mountain. O Jerusalem, that brings good tidings, lift up your voice with strength. Lift it up, be not afraid. Say to the cities of Judah, Behold, your Elohim. Behold, our Father in heaven. Elohim will come with strong hands, and his arm will rule for him. Behold, his reward is with him, and his work before him. He will feed his flock like a shepherd. He will gather the lambs with his arm, and carry them in his bosom, and will gently lead those that are with young. Who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand, and meted out heaven with the span, and comprehended the dust of the earth in a measure, and weighed the mountains in scales, and the hills in a balance? Who has directed the Spirit of our Father in heaven, or being his counselor has taught him? With whom took he counsel, and who instructed him, and taught him in the path of judgment, and taught him knowledge, and showed to him the way of understanding? Behold, the nations are as a drop of a bucket, and are counted as the small dust of the balance. Behold, he takes up the isles as a very little thing, and Lebanon is not sufficient to burn, nor the beast thereof sufficient for a burnt offering. All nations before him are as nothing, and they are counted to him less than nothing in vanity. To whom then will you liken Elohim, or what likeness will you compare to him? The workman melts a graven image, and the goldsmith spreads it over with gold, and casts silver chains. He that is so impoverished that he has no oblation chooses a tree that will not rot. He seeks to him a cunning workman to prepare a graven image that will not be moved. Have you not known? Have you not heard? Has it not been told you from the beginning? Have you not understood from the foundations of the earth? It is he that sits upon the circle of the earth, and the inhabitants thereof as grasshoppers, that stretches out the heavens as a curtain, and spreads them out as a tent to dwell in, that brings the princes to nothing. He makes the judges of the earth as vanity. Yeah, they will not be planted. Yeah, they will not be sown. Yeah, their stock will not take root in the earth, and he will also blow upon them, and they will wither, and the whirlwind will take them away as stubble. To whom then will you liken me? Or will I be equal? Says the Holy One. Lift up your eyes on high, and behold, who has created these things, that brings out their host by number? He calls them out. He calls them all by names, by the greatness of his might, for that he is strong in power. Not one fails. He says, You, O Jacob, and speaks, O Israel, my way is hid from our Father in heaven, and my judgment is passed over from my Elohim. Have you not known? Have you not heard that the everlasting Elohim, our Father in heaven, the creator of the ends of the earth, faints not, neither is weary? There is no searching of his understanding. He gives power to the faint, and to them that have no might he increases strength. Even the youths will faint and be weary, and the young men will utterly fall. But they that wait upon our Father in heaven will renew their strength. They will mount up with wings as eagles. They will run and not be weary, and they will walk and not faint. Father willing, we will continue with Isaiah chapter 41. May our Father, Messiah, and the Holy Spirit be with us. Peace.